You're going to make the exact mistakes I did. You're going to get rejected, frustrated, and just left wondering, is there an easier way? And there might be. I've been a dating and sex coach for almost a decade now, and I've been gaming for years before that. The biggest variable that would have made my journey 100 times more productive and just way easier is if I could go back and give my younger self 10 pieces of advice. Because no matter how inexperienced you are, no matter how terrible you are with women, no matter how many issues you feel like you have to overcome, you can and you will succeed. I'm going to give you the crucial wisdom from my own journey and struggles that will save you all the time and pain. The lessons most guys, honestly, that would have taken more than a decade to figure out or never would have figured out to begin with. So who the fuck am I? I'm Marcus Wolf. I've had incredible highs and I feel like I've done it all. From hosting boat parties, sex parties, having fivesomes, open relationships, sleeping with hundreds of women, and then finding an incredible girlfriend. I've created an international coaching company where we've helped thousands of students all around the world. And this year, I became an executive coach for Dan Bilzerian, helping him in his company, Sigma Society. But honestly, it wasn't always like that. I've faced some brutal lows. And it's been in those dark moments that I've learned what actually works. And my first lesson I learned actually really early on in my journey. You see, this used to be me. Back in school, I wasn't the popular guy. I wasn't hot, confident, or even remotely good with women. Deep down, I felt like, honestly, I didn't even deserve women. I was ashamed of even wanting them. Look, when I was young and in school, the first few friendships I actually had with women, I was given shit for. Because the idea of interacting or wanting the other sex, I used to think was gross or looked down upon. I grew up in a Christian household where the idea of sex was bad. I was told I couldn't have a girlfriend after university. I wasn't even allowed to watch Big Brother or Simpsons because there were too many sexual references. The first time I did end up with a girlfriend, it was super confusing. I thought she was incredible and I felt like a bit of a fraud. Like it's only a matter of time before she finds out I'm not good enough for her. And the first time we ever had sex was literally almost a year into the relationship. Because even though now I can look back and I was like, damn, okay, this girl really wanted to fuck. All right, she's like desperately pushing for it. And I just kept telling her like, no, we should wait. Okay, take your time. Because I thought sex was selfish. I thought it was purely just for male satisfaction. And I was just trying to do the right thing by her. And that was my first lesson. Women love sex. Not just party girls or sluts, but literally every single girl, regardless if she's religious or a virgin or a good girl. Deep rooted in her biology is that proclivity, the desire for sexual pleasure and gratification. So guys, don't judge girls for their nature, simply understand it. Because that understanding is going to unlock doors faster than any pickup line ever could. The minute girls feel actually understood and you create an open frame around sexuality, they are going to be way more open and sexual with you. Doesn't mean she's a slut, doesn't mean it's with everyone else, but that's going to be your first key to actually opening up a mind around you. So if you ask yourself, if you see there, if you're judging girls and you think like, just read Nancy Friday, My Secret Garden. You can go to forums and see how women speak about this. You can chat to the girls that are your friends or even girls that you're fucking and see and explore their fantasies. I guarantee you, okay, if you give them that space, they're going to be able to tell you exactly what they want, what their craziest thoughts are. And now if you're the guy that gets to explore them with her, you become unique, right? You're the only guy that has ever understood her on that level. Now, I'm sure you all know how this type of relationship ended. I had no boundaries, self-confidence, and I didn't even have a say in this relationship. The reason I got into game was this happened a second time. After years of being with a girl, thinking we're going to spend our lives together, get married, have kids, it all came fucking crashing down with one simple line. I remember just saying, I just can't do this anymore. And that was it. It was over. I thought like many do, not only was the relationship over, I'm like, my life is over. I thought I'd never find another woman, that she was the one for me, that I was completely unlovable otherwise. And this is where the gaming journey began. After months of being depressed, struggling at work, barely leaving the house, in between my desperate, pathetic texts begging her to come back, I started to take some action. I'd head into the city and I did it just to get out of my head, to get some fresh air, to be a little bit distracted. And while I was out there, I did my first approach. I simply went up, asked a girl, hey, do you know where there's a bar around here? Someone wanted to grab a drink. The interesting thing was I had almost completely no AA. And this is my second lesson. Take the pressure off the outcome. It's important to have goals and a plan and to strive for a certain set of results. However, you need to realize the more pressure you place on yourself, the more difficult any of those action and results are going to become. So instead, just simply focus on your behaviors, on practicing on slow improvement, and understand what each interaction actually means. If you think you're putting yourself on the line every single time, if each approach is a referendum on whether you're good enough as a person, whether you're lovable, whether you're attractive, whether you're ever going to get girls, it's going to be extremely difficult. You're going to have huge amounts of AA. So instead, take that pressure off. In the same way that I was just asking where a bar was. It wasn't anything about me. It wasn't this trying to get go. I just asked a fucking question. So if you're struggling in the beginning, take all of that pressure off. Just think about your behaviors. I then continued going out quite a lot to bars and just hanging out by myself. And I wasn't there to game. I didn't even know what fucking game was really at the time. But I remember meeting my first ever wing. I was just at the bar pouring some water for myself. Guy came over, I gave him water. And he asked me, he's like, yo, what are you up to? Like, what are you doing here? And I felt like a fucking loser. So I lied. I just said, yeah, look, I'm waiting for some friends. I said, what about you? He confidently just said, look, here by myself, here to pick up, just chatting some girls. And then this huge like wave of relief came over me. I was like, awesome. There's another fucking loser at this bar, okay? And then I immediately open up. I'm like, actually, I'm here by myself as well, right? But I wasn't doing the talking to girls thing. And so I hung out with him for the night. Then we hung out again. This group grew. And then I started thinking, okay, I will do this game thing. I will start speaking to women. That's when the AA hit me, okay? That's when there was an outcome. And I remember I'd go out night after night after night, and I'd get to the bar, I'd amp myself up, then I'd just like do laps. I'd walk around and I'm like, I'll go to the toilet, I'll grab a drink. Okay, I'll open that next girl. Wait, no, I won't. We'd go back out to my car, listen to some music, amp myself up, get back in there. And it just wouldn't work. Every insecurity I ever had, every negative core belief, it just came shooting to the surface. And this is where I learned my third lesson. Game is therapy. I didn't realize the layers of negative beliefs and awful thoughts I tell myself, or how unhappy and undeserving I actually was. This wasn't until I started putting myself in front of women. It became this kind of mirror into my own psyche. Because at the end of the day, if you want to get better with women, you have to improve yourself. And these insecurities, like I hated my ears, how skinny I was, the way I spoke, the way I looked, I hated so much about myself. I had limiting beliefs. I thought that sex was bad, that every girl I spoke to was better than me. And it wasn't until I started to game and process these thoughts and beliefs that I began to feel a sense of acceptance. And ultimately, we're at the point I am now where I'm happy with who I am. So of course, AA took me a very long time to overcome. It's not a matter of just opening 1,000 goals. If every single time you open, you just reinforce that you're not good enough, then the 1,000th and first goal you open, you're also going to feel shit. It's about understanding, okay, what are these beliefs that are actually coming up? I think this is weird. I don't think I'm good enough. If I get rejected, it means women don't like me. Once you start to figure out those core beliefs that are actually holding you back and you work your way through them, the AA pretty much dissipates at that point. And so once I processed these things, I started opening like a fucking G, okay? Like I was known as the guy that opened. If there was someone around that was nervous and saw a girl, is like, I would just open for them and introduce them. And that shift taught me lesson number 4. Identity is incredibly powerful. The more of an alter ego you can create about the type of person you want to become, the easier it is to face that level of rejection and access the traits you want to have. So when I saw myself as the opener, I immediately refrained nerves into excitement. I didn't worry about any blowouts because it wasn't about me. This was just the persona that would go open. If that person got rejected, it doesn't really matter. And then this started to shift to almost like a gaming persona where there was like a work version of me, there was like a family version of me, there might have been like a study version of me, and then there was a gaming version of me. There was a set of clothes I'd put on, set of jewelry, maybe a certain cologne, and when I go out, there was also a set of behaviors. So now when I approach the girl, I realize like she didn't know me. She knew like this one facet of me. There's a little set of behaviors that I'm wearing right now. So if I would get rejected, it didn't fucking matter. She didn't reject the whole me. It was like this little version, and I could just adapt and change those behaviors. And so now it wasn't that I wasn't attractive. It was these behaviors. Maybe I didn't speak loud enough. Maybe I didn't speak to a friend. That's the only thing that got rejected. And not only that, but I could access these traits. When I went out and I was like that opening guy, as I said before, like I had a new level of confidence. Like, what does that guy look like? What does he dress like? How does he act? And so I really encourage you guys, try to create that version of you that you want to be, that like alter ego. Like, who do you see yourself being in a year's time? Is it a guy that's confident and assertive? Start acting as if you are that person. Doesn't have to mean like you're faking and you're going out there and being someone you're not or some bullshit or lying, but strive to be who you want to be. And I guarantee you're going to be able to separate yourself a little bit from your ego and feeling like I got rejected too. Okay, like she doesn't know me. There's a couple of behaviors. We can move on and fix this. So lesson number 4, all right, create that alter ego. Now, in my journey after learning to open, like many people, I discovered not many girls actually wanted to speak to me for very long. And so I started to experiment. Like, unfortunately, I didn't have any level of knowledge. I didn't have mentors. I didn't have anyone coaching me. And in hindsight, I'm really fucking lucky and happy I didn't get sucked into some sort of ideology. You know, a couple of guys were doing the whole RSD shit. The reason is most advice is just fucking dog shit. It's just like recycled shit that other people have heard, or maybe some guy goes out and he's attractive for a certain reason, but he teaches something completely different that doesn't work for anyone else. And so I literally just would go out night after night after night and just try something new, just see what worked. And I felt like a pussy scientist essentially, but I would A/B test. I would go out, speak really, really loud, or speak a little bit softer and sexual, or I try hold back, or I try brag. And over time, I started to realize what worked and what didn't. And this is where I discovered my next lesson, that attraction 100% can be created depending on the types of behaviors you show the girl and what she finds out about you. And more than this, what you really strive for, the thing that works the best, is unique attraction mechanisms. Because you can have a girl, honestly, they can go out, if they want to find a guy with a six-pack, they can do that. They can jump on Tinder, they can go to the club. You can find a guy good looking if you're a girl. If you want someone with like a nice job or makes a little bit of money, again, Instagram, Tinder, you can go out, you can find that. What girls find really difficult to find are going to be these 3 things that I tell you. And there are also 3 things you can attain that aren't that difficult to learn. Because I could sit here and be like, okay, guys, I've got the secret to be attractive, all right? Go out and become a world famous DJ, all right? It works for all my other students. Like, obviously that's not gonna fucking happen. But these 3 things are attainable. Number 1, emotional impact. So having really good subcoms, allowing the girl to feel a set of emotions and take her on that journey. Number 2 is going to be understanding her. So this is having the experience and the knowledge to actually have the girl at the end of the conversation feel like, damn, this guy gets me, but also get you on that deeper level. So not just platonic shit, but also sexually. And then number 3 is going to be sexual authority. So this is being able to have a masculine and dominant presence, to be able to know what she wants in bed and to be able to deliver that. Now, for most girls, there's a dominance gap. They're going to want to be feminine, be able to let go, be able to feel a guy that is able to be lead a little bit more in the bedroom. And these things are attainable. I've taught this to thousands of students. You can learn this because it's innately in all of you. You're men, you're masculine. It's just being able to find how to bring that out of you and how to display to the girl. And this is going to be a little bit of a controversial take, but it's more than just the masculine dominance, because sometimes I see the red pill shit. It's like, just be a man, just do this. The issue is you don't just want one or the other, right? If you go to Brazil, for example, the guys there are very dominant, very masculine, but all the women will complain that they just don't fucking listen, right? There's no back and forth. They just don't understand us. And then you go to Sweden and the guys are really nice and pleasant and they listen, but the girls will say these guys are just fucking pussies. So you want to max out your masculine traits, but you also want to max out your feminine traits. You also want to be able to, again, take the girl on a set of emotions. You want her to feel like this guy just fucking gets me. He understands me. So it's a matter of learning both. But if you manage to have these three things, these unique mechanisms, you're going to be able to build attraction super easy. So what are the action steps here? Well, number one, just bring more emotion into your interactions. Even if you're opening and you just ask something with some curiosity or you create some anticipation, hey, look, can I be honest with you? Or I'm really curious about something. I'm just going to add a little bit more emotion. Number two, understanding. If you can just show her that, okay, I understand you want to be a feminine woman and you prefer more masculine guys. This is an easy conversation to have to show you understand that. And then number three, the sexual authority. The bar's really fucking low. If you just learn how to eat the girl's pussy, if you just learn how to dirty talk her a little bit, if you learn how to put a fucking blindfold over her, obviously in our mastermind, we go through these, we have courses, you can dive a bit deeper, but those are just some easy 3 action steps you can start to implement in your interactions, like literally tonight or tomorrow. Okay, back to the journey. So now for the longest time, I was building attraction, but I was never closing. I would always get to the point where this girl was into me, she liked me. And I'd be like, all right, so should we head back to mine now? And I always got girls saying I can't because of my friends, or I'm not that type of girl, or something honestly as soft as her just saying maybe. And I would hear this and immediately think it was over. So I was like, okay, no problem. I just then chill with the girl for the rest of the night. Or I just leave set completely thinking, okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe this girl doesn't like me. Like, this is dead now. And it wasn't until this happened probably like 5 times in a row with the same girl. So I'd go to the same club every week. I'd see her, we'd chat all night. And then eventually she just was like, yes, let's go. I was like, all right, we went home together. We had sex. And afterwards she asked me why I never made a move. And I was like, I'm like, what are you talking about? I made 5 moves. What the hell does this even mean? But it makes sense now. And this is the lesson. And you might think the lesson here is to understand the importance of dealing with objections and concerns and to realize that at times they might not even be real. Like, she might simply be saying maybe because she doesn't want to feel like needy or easy or like a slut. But you'd be wrong. Okay. Lesson number 6 is that game isn't linear. You're not going to learn this like it's a language or an instrument. You won't get better every single day from just putting effort in. There's going to be some nights where you absolutely kill it, and then some nights where you absolutely bomb, and you're going to go through periods of just stagnant plateaus, and that's completely normal. You might find that you try something new, like maybe even something you heard on this video, and your results decline for a little bit. It's not until that epiphany happens, where the new lesson is learned or that new skill is acquired, that you actually start to see an increase in results. But when you do, these results will typically feel exponential. So as soon as I learn to actually deal with objections instead of ignoring them, I started to close like crazy. Every maybe I got, I took it a little bit further. When she said my friends, I just go speak to the friends and deal with that. So the best way to get through these stagnant periods is to start to find positive motivation to stay gaming. This shouldn't feel like it's a job or a chore or something negative. If this is something you're doing for a long time and want to improve over a long time, then find the positive. So it might be like focusing on your goals, right? It might be thinking about, what do I need to improve to actually get to the life that I want? It could be focusing on just having fun in the night. So maybe you go out, you troll girls, you create games. I know for me, it became a very social thing, right? I just like going out with my mates. I loved hanging with them. There were honestly times where I like wouldn't even pull just because I enjoyed gaming with my mates. So that always motivated me to continue with this like night after night. It could be that you just like the skill process of this, just learning new things. It could be that you enjoy the conversation with the girl, that you enjoy figuring out about her psyche and what makes her tick and what she likes. Or could be that you just like fucking, all right? Like, if you just really enjoy sex, then that could be your motivation. Like, okay, either you are closing now or you're going to get to the point that you are closing quite a lot. But at the end of the day, just realize if you're in these stagnant periods, as long as you're reflecting, as long as you're looking to improve, that will come. But just make sure you stay motivated within that time. All right. So after I was pulling more than I honestly ever thought was fucking possible, I encountered the next roadblock. I was barely seeing any of these girls a second time. Because every girl I close, I expected that, okay, of course she's going to reply to my messages. Of course she's going to want to hang out in the next few days. So I'd close and, listen, We just made love, okay? So of course I'm going to sit here and say, look, do you want to meet tomorrow or the day after? And look, I know this is a huge problem with even some of the coaches I know. They can go out and they can pull fairly decently, but they can't have any form of retention or any power dynamic within any relationships that they created. And so this is where I learned lesson number 7. Retention is going to equal great sex and the ability to make her chase. So once I learned this, I set my sights on becoming the best I could in the bedroom. I got training in BDSM, Tantra, Shibari, and I started practicing all these new skills on the girls that I met and was sleeping with. And what I noticed is almost all the sex coaching advice out there is based on relationships, or the other extreme, like if you're at sex parties and going to like BDSM events with girls that are already in that space. And the issue is, if you're in a relationship or a BDSM party, these girls are open to talking about these things and exploring. But it's really difficult if you go on a Tinder date, you're back at your place, and you're like, hi, I'm just gonna light some candles here. I'd love to practice some eye gazing with you. So we'll just stare into each other's eyes for 5 minutes. Or if it's BDSM, like, yo, what are your boundaries? What are your safe words? You start pulling out like paddles and shit. These girls, they're gonna freak the fuck out. So after years of learning these skills, advancing my skills, practicing with girls in the bedroom, once again, experimenting, seeing what worked, what didn't, I decided I wanted to teach this. So I became a sex coach, and I wanted to aim at improving those first few nights of pleasure. So I wanted to teach guys, how can you explore the girl's fantasies with someone that you just met in a way that felt incredibly natural? How could you have the best sex of this girl's entire life where those fantasies are met on that first night? And so that's what I started to teach. But it was more than just amazing sex. Don't get me wrong, that helps, but you need to leave room for women to chase. They actually want that ability. They don't want to feel like they have to dive into anything serious right away. They want mystery. They want to feel unsure. Does this guy actually want to see me again? Like, I don't know. That's what creates like these butterflies. It's supposed to make the girl feel more attracted to you. And I realized like I'd been stealing that opportunity from them. I've been stealing that gift from them. So instead I realized, okay, I need to give women the gift of chasing. So guys, as an action step, if you feel like you're not having the best retention with women, then number 1, look to get better in the bedroom. So again, we have a bunch of stuff around that you can learn. And then number 2, give her the ability to chase. One small thing you can start to implement is on that night that you sleep with her, don't even think or ask about seeing her again. All right. Leave that as a little bit of a mystery. And then when you message her, don't message her a bunch of questions or a bunch of validating shit. Something simple as like, last night was fun. If you want to push your limits, you can even say like, last night was fun, take care. Right? So she might think that you're just saying goodbye. But something where it's just a statement, you're not asking for anything back. You just put that message out there. Now it's giving her some room. If the next day you say like, last night was so great, I enjoyed it, you're so cool, you're really fun, hey, when do you want to see each other again? Okay, it kind of drops your value here. You remove all the fun for her. Let her message her friends and wonder what to say. Let her sit there and think over about how she should reply. Let her wonder if she should ask you out for the next date. Let her think like, hell, was this just a one night stand? Does this guy even like me? Like, what's going on here? Give her that gift, because she's not going to tell you this. The girls love that, okay? They love that feeling when it comes to men. So there you go. Action step, let her chase. All right, so now we're like 5 years deep in my journey, dating and sex coaching at the moment. And it was through this that I started really developing a lot of different types of relationships. So some were very casual, literally like some girls I only saw when it was time to have threesomes or foursomes or something like that. And then others were much more serious, like open relationships. And this is where I learned lesson number 8. You don't really know a girl until she's tested. It takes about 6 months, I'd say a year, to really start to discover who someone is. You need to be able to see them in enough situations and wait for some of your hormones to die down to get an understanding who this girl is. Because I see so many guys, they, after like a week, month, 2 months, 3 months, they think they love this girl or they want a relationship or some shit. And it's like, dude, you only know like 20% of this girl. And when you build that fantasy, you start ignoring the red flags, like maybe she's lied or she's inconsistent. You kind of put that to the side. And also it just tells the girl, like, you can do anything and I'm going to be in no matter what. And this is where disrespect happens. This is where relationships are built on a rocky foundation. So take your time, like test her, let her feel like she's earned a relationship here. So you should see what she's like when she's around your friends, what she's like when you guys go on holidays, what she's like when you cancel because you're super busy and has something coming up, or how she acts around you when other girls come up and speak to you. Like, is she going to get fucking jealous and crazy? The relationship, that first period, should always be a test. Understand, like, you don't know who this girl is, even if you feel you do. And when the girl feels tested and she feels like she's earned it, now you're going to have much more respect in this relationship. It's going to be happy and healthy for both of you. But this also works the other way around, right? You can't fool someone over a long period of time. She's also going to discover who you are. So if you think you can just trick a girl or have some shortcuts and techniques to try to get a hot girlfriend, it's never going to work, right? You can't lie about your job or lie about who you are and expect this to work. Getting good at game is becoming the ultimate version of yourself. It's understanding what is attractive, how to grow that within yourself. It's understanding who you actually are as a person. And then when you develop that, this is where you create attraction, you sleep with the girls you want, and then you pick the ones and you filter them out, you test them, and that's when you get into a relationship. So the action step here is never get into a relationship unless you've properly tested the girl. After spending so much time around women, I realized lesson number 9, beauty is overrated. At first, for a guy, it feels incredibly validating to sleep with a bunch of women that guys would literally dream of. But after some time, you just come to realize everyone's just human. We're all just as fucked up as each other. Most women are insecure and worried, or even more insecure and worried than everyone else. Like, there was this one girl I was dating who was so incredibly hot, like model, 100,000 Instagram followers, all of that. And she would have like an insecurity about her ears poking out a little bit too much in like side profile photos. So she'd always wear her hair down. Like, when we go out, she was so worried about how she looked and what she would. And I was like, you do know you're fucking very good looking, right? And even though she could acknowledge everyone else kind of felt that, she never felt it in herself. And now it's been like a year that I've been working with Dan Bilzerian. I consulted for his new course and I worked for him as an executive coach over there. And this is something he's mentioned too. Even with unvetted access to some of the hottest girls in the world blowing up in his DMs, he would much prefer a girl with a great personality that's more compatible with him, that is more humble, peaceful, sense of humor. So just remember, next time you see that hot girl, just remind yourself, you're probably going to have a way better time with a girl that has a better personality anyway. And this girl's probably more nervous, insecure, worried. She's probably more normal than you realize. So if you want to go talk to her, just go talk to her. Again, test. Find out if she's cool or not. It's simple as that. You don't have to fucking worry about it. Okay, guys. After 10 years of coaching men in dating, here's the truth. No amount of lays, threesomes, or hot girlfriends will ever fix a lack of self-worth. What I've learned in this is I just don't want to help guys win in dating. I want them to feel whole while they're doing it, to be able to build a lifestyle that actually excites them. So whether that's the ability to choose and the freedom of casual fun relationships or deep meaningful ones, or finding a partner just who truly gets them. The real flex, I feel, isn't just in getting women. It's in getting women in a way that feels integral to yourself, that builds up your self-confidence and ultimately creates peace in your life. It's about knowing who you are and actually loving the man that you've become. So here's my final message to you. Life is fucking short. We know that. So stop waiting and start taking up space. I want you to speak a little bit louder, show up bigger, and do the things you've been avoiding, even if there's been some resistance there. Because the world, it's always going to feel better when you're fully expressed in it. And if you want more from these 10 years of lessons, then join the Mastermind. You'll find courses in there on text game, cold approach. You'll get personalized coaching. So we have calls every single week. You have access to community forums. So if you're ready to evolve, and this might be from any of the lessons you learned today, it could be from how to deal with your core beliefs, insecurities, AA, how to open, how to build attraction using the unique mechanisms, how to deal with objections and go for the pull, retention, better in bed, learning to make a chase, or even creating relationships. How do you create an open dynamic as opposed to screen for a girlfriend that you want to be with exclusively? All these things we're going to cover inside. So again, if you are ready to make that shift, Click the link below. You get 2 weeks free. You can cancel anytime you want, but I guarantee you won't want to. So don't miss out. See you in there.